Hey, guess what, everybody? Go listen to the Break It Down show.
And now, the Break It Down show with Jon and Pete.
We're at Pete's Oasis.
That's right, the Oasis.
Yeah. And this is a bonus show, a special bonus show, bonus Break It Down show, for two reasons. The primary of which is that, man, that Sly Stone show is a monster.
It is a lot of work.
And you guys are going to be elated to hear it.
It's just taken longer than we thought to put it all together.
Howdy.
It is a lot of work.
We're digging back through the archives at conversations that we had with people quite a long time ago.
And there's so much good stuff. We have a duty to those guests to let their voice be heard, and in a way that makes sense. And there's just so much of that great commentary that they all provided. It just takes a while. It takes longer than, normally the show isn't that complex for us.
That's right. Not normally. Normally we put the mics on and go.
Yeah.
And we do a little bit of chopping just for listenability. Because some of our guests that we get are fascinating people who are not orators for a living.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what show had practically no editing. Jay Moore.
Yeah, Jay's just go and he does it. He talks every day on the radio, though.
Right. Yes. He's an everyday talker kind of guy. Mm-hmm. Most of the comedians can just go.
Right.
Devone, he could just go.
Right.
And there were other shows where the guys were fascinating. Ladies were fascinating. But they had, speech things where it was like, that's not flattering. Let's just take that out. Ums and ahs mostly.
Yeah, nothing big. We're not changing the content of what they say. We're just polishing it up.
The Sly Stone show, however, has a lot of edits. There are a lot of musical cues that come in that deserve to be referenced.
Yeah.
So doing some of that, reaching back to guys like Dwayne Wiggins, who was our guest for show number, what do you think, 4?
4 or something like that. Just right in deep.
And
great guests.
He had such amazing things to say about Sly because his musical career was largely influenced by Sly and the Family Stone in a
lot
number
of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be exciting. And we have to tell that story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's the first person characterization of the multiple influence of Sly Stone.
Yeah.
So what's the second reason?
The second reason that we're doing this is because we're overdue.
Yeah, we like to talk to you guys.
Yeah. So we also have a guest who doesn't know he's a guest yet. He's our friend Gary Cady.
Yeah.
Who's a fascinating dude. He's one of those guys, you have that fascinating friend who you go, man, dude, you always have something interesting to say. You have something amazing to talk about. You always have something hilarious up your sleeve. And they just go, nah, I don't know.
Yeah, one of the great things that Gary and I do, and Gary and I go back, we're approaching 40 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's conversations.
That's right. So, we're going to let that float. Float on.
Everything floats in the Oasis.
Yeah.
Hey, and here comes Gary Cady right now.
That's right. Gary doesn't know it, but we're going to bamboozle him. We're going to Shanghai him. We're going to stick a mic in front of him and see what he has to say. Now, the thing that I'm going to say as Gary sits down next to me is, here's the deal, Gary. We're going to put a mic in front of you, and we're going to talk shit for a little while. If you don't like it, we don't put it up. That's it. If you go, you know what? That was funner than I thought it would be. And there's a few moments in there.
I have no doubt that it'd be fun.
Yeah. So, Pete's going to get you a mic.
Chime in if you want.
That was only slightly hideously loud. It's not like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, Gary Cady. Yeah, we're just going to do it. But, we certainly welcome your comments. Chime in whenever you want. Just when you do chime in like this. Not like this.
Gotcha.
That's beautiful. Look, it sounds like music right there.
Yeah, one of the great pleasures of having this show is to share the friends from our lives, whatever they do.
Yep.
And just say, this is someone from our life who speaks to our overall quality of life. And Gary definitely is someone who enriches, I know, for sure, my life.
You know what I'm looking forward to? Here's what I'll say I'm looking forward to, man. Jason Bourne comes out this weekend.
Yeah, you ready for that?
I'm going to be seeing that probably in the first week or two of its existence.
Episode number 5, is that right?
I
The
think
fifth
so.
one?
Yeah.
4, is it 4?
So there was the
with Matt Damon. So
The
you've
fourth
so
was
there's
Matt
5.
Damon.
Yeah, because
there's
Jeremy...
5, and they took the other actor from The Hurt Locker.
right,
Oh, okay, yeah, Jeremy Renner.
right.
Yeah,
I didn't see the Jeremy Renner one. Was it good?
I didn't either.
It's good.
Yeah.
I heard that in it, he was enough of a departure from Matt Damon that if you were really into the Matt Damon thing, you weren't going to like it. I'm not necessarily into... I love Matt Damon, but I'm not necessarily into that movie for that. I'm into that movie for that character. And if Jeremy Renner's like another character, similar character with equal talents and, motivations. I hear he shoots down a drone, which is
Good.
pretty cool. That sounds like a good idea. But they didn't bring Jeremy Renner back. But here's why I'm fascinated with the Bourne series with Matt Damon is because when they were starting to make the one that Jeremy Renner was in, that's when Matt Damon said, "You know what? I can't do it anymore.
Right.
I'm too banged up." And
That's a lot
he's
of hard
our
work.
age. So when you see him doing that shit, he's doing. I love those movies because I watch him doing that shit and I think, God damn, that must hurt. That must just hurt.
There's and you know this, we know a couple, and hopefully we'll get a couple of stuntmen on the show, but there's a physicality,
Yep.
and there's like there's an intersection between age and physicality.
Yeah.
And
I got to say one name, Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there are freaks. I mean, Nolan Ryan pitched into his 40s and never blew his arm out until the very, very end.
Right.
But you do have a point. There is an intersection between age and the ability to stay fit enough.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan is this generation's Buster Keaton. He had that physical comedy thing where his hands and his feet. That's different than...
We're otherworldly.
Yeah. That's different than what Jason Bourne has to do.
Yeah.
And Matt Damon's going to do as many of his own stunts as possible.
Yep.
But old stuntmen typically plan stunts.
Yeah. So the two stuntmen we know, I'm just gonna tickle them on this episode because I want to get them.
Yeah, let's get 'em.
One is Daryl Chen.
Yeah.
He's a Los Angeles stuntman who's terrific. He doubles for all kinds of celebrities. He's he's just a good-looking Asian dude who's in his, he must be in his early 50s, maybe mid-50s. Potent shape. Man, awesome fighter, wonderful swordsman, wonderful horseman. So he stays busy to this day, and he is a physical freak in that he is, our age, a little older than us, and doing it every day. And so, Daryl, come be on the show. Come on, man. The other one is Laurel Chartrand, who is also a few years older than us, and also amazing. Also amazing horseman. I don't know what it is with the horse connection, but these guys can ride the hell out of some horses. They're like freaking Mongols.
That must be like a Hollywood requirement for stuntmen because you can always get in if you can ride a horse.
If you can ride a horse, yeah.
Right. I would like to get Al Leong too.
Oh man, yeah. Of course.
Gary, I want to tell you who Al Leong is, and you're going to know exactly who he is. He's in Die Hard. And he's the guy that when the whole criminal break-in is going on, he looks at the candy bar display. He's like, oh.
He does he's amazing stuntman.
Yeah.
But he also brings the comedic element.
And he's Genghis Khan. Anytime they need a Genghis, like he's Genghis Khan
In Bill and Ted's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'd be a great shtick. For your Hollywood resume says when you need Genghis Khan.
Call Al.
Yeah.
Al Leong.
Yeah, that's right. Be the guy who is the Genghis Khan. So, yeah, we want to get both of those guys. Fellas, do the show.
Do it.
They're both just hellaciously busy, though.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this show is we've got certain people that are out there, and they're just far enough out that we're getting them, but you've got to wait for the timing and the schedules to line up.
Yeah, everybody's busy.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, if we've hit you up for the show, and you're like, yeah, I've enjoyed the show. These guys are harmless. It sounds like fun. I'll tell you what, this is what we do. We take up an hour of your life, people.
Yeah.
An hour. And this is how we do it. We put a mic in front of you, and we just bullshit. And if you like it, we put it up. If you don't like it, we don't get anybody to... Not one person on our show so far has ever signed a release. We have no legal right to put up any of the shows that we have up. What we have is tacit permission.
And no one said, don't put that up.
No, not anyone. It's unanimous that at the end of the taping, let's call it a taping, at the end of capturing an episode, every single one of our guests has said, yeah, that was good. In fact, most have said, I was reluctant, but that was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and I want to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who should we have back? And I'm not asking you, Pete. I'm asking our listeners. Because I'll tell you who, when Pete and I are just, when we're just bullshitting and we think, oh, you know who we should get back? Every single person has been through that conversation.
Everyone.
We should get James Early back. He was guest number 1. He's been back 5 times.
Yeah.
He's got a standing seat.
We're about to get, in a week's time, we will have Bob Greenberg back on the show.
He's been on twice.
And we love Bob Greenberg.
Yeah.
He's just going to be in steady rotation because
He's
there's
an
always
amazing
something
dude.
good to talk about.
That's right. And whenever we do a show at his house, he gets us drunk.
Yeah, yes.
Which is fun. I'm just the fun kind of drunk. So he's got like a martini shaker collection.
You can't even believe.
That shit. But it must be. What do you think? It's got to be 200 deep.
Is he the best musician in our phalanx of musicians that we have?
Man, I can't register an opinion about that.
I know, but it's crazy to look at the quality that Bob Greenberg clearly has.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
he's a concert pianist. That puts him in a different league.
He does. He's sponsored by Steinway. That puts him in a different league.
Yeah.
But that gives you an idea of the quality of our guests.
Sure.
When you can't just say outright yes.
Yep.
They're different. I mean, James Early on the bass.
Yep. Some people would say Felton Pilot. I've heard, I think even on it might have been on Marvin McFadden's episode, he said, I don't know if he said it on the episode or if he's just something that he said in passing, but about Felton Pilot, he said that guy can hear grass grow.
Yeah.
And there's something about that is amazing. He's got the Stevie Wonder ear, except he can see.
Both of those guys also said, Mick Gillette, that's it.
Yep.
That's my God.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, as many people on the show have said, this is a standing theme of the musicians making contemporary music on our show. They all had their moment where they went, and then it all changed when I met Felton Pilot.
Yeah.
And nobody even knows who on earth Felton Pilot even is.
It's crazy.
I have no idea who Felton Pilot is.
Yeah. And we've had so many musicians on our show, unexpectedly, too, who said, and then I met Felton. And we were like, Felton? Oh, Felton changed my life.
You can't enjoy modern music, popular music, without having his influence on your stuff.
Yeah, it's touched in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. If you liked MC Hammer, you like Felton Pilot.
Yeah. And Felton, you're right, when we brought up Mick, he said and surprise to me, he said, Mick Gillette is my hero. We were like, what, you have a hero? That's like hearing Superman has an idol.
Bob Greenberg said same things. I would love to meet him.
Yeah.
That's one of my idols.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
That's a lot of really good musicians.
Yeah.
Not to mention Tommy McElroy. There's so many people that can just go crazy on their instrument of choice.
Yep. We should try to put Bob Greenberg and Tommy McElroy together.
Yeah,
they're both piano technicians.
Mm-hmm. We've
coming
talked
from
about
different sides of the world.
Yeah. Yet only 5 miles apart.
When we first started this show, I think maybe even at the point where we had recorded exactly one episode, we recorded the James episode, and we went to Dwayne's house.
Yeah.
And we were talking to Dwayne about doing an episode, and then we said, listen, we want to get Tommy McElroy.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to let us tell Tommy McElroy that we want to record his episode at your house.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, man, if you get Tommy McElroy out of the mountain cave in which he lives, where you have to scale the peak to sit in his presence, and if you bring him out of that mountain cave to come into my studio, I'll get my piano tuned.
Yeah.
Getting a piano tuned is no small feat, and goddamn, that piano needs tuning. But
Corey proved that.
he said, yeah, I'll get my piano tuned if you get Tommy over here.
We went to the mountain cave instead, though.
Instead, we went to the mountain cave, yeah.
Yeah.
So we got to get him and Denny in the same room.
Yeah.
We're going to do that as well. Who else we got coming up?
Well, Fred Leland, because police and community involvement remains a important topic.
Yeah.
So we'll have him basically as soon as the schedules permit. We've booked him 2 or 3 times, and between us and him, we just haven't been able to turn on the mics.
I don't think Fred Leland has enough of a, and this is Fred Leland's issue, is that he's too busy doing the work to increase the size of his mouthpiece. But he
Yeah.
really needs a larger mouthpiece in the world because
He does.
he gets community policing. He gets engagement across all, levels of the population.
Yeah. He knows what it's like to be an officer on the street, literally with your life on the line. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
But he can give you the granular detail that you have to understand that. And he doesn't just say, we need to train our cops better. He knows specifically what type of training.
Right.
And it's not...
He knows where the low-hanging fruit is.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It'll be exciting to have him on. We also, because it's a very relevant topic and we want to get smarter in these things, we're going to have Dr. Tim Furnish on again. And he's going to help get us smarter on Islam and what it means to be involved with Islam so that we can hopefully get closer to a solution that makes more sense than just what we've got going on right now. Who else is out there? Boy, there's a bunch of stuff.
yeah. Yeah. I like to get more actors on the show.
All right. Fuck it, I'll say it. We might just have Rob Riggle lined up. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm confident about it.
I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed because, God, man, damn it, I love Rob Riggle. That dude is so fucking hilarious.
Yes.
That I would just sit there and get out of his way and just try to feed whatever thing he was doing at the moment. Because, man, that dude's funny.
I wanted to ask you this, and Gary, feel free to chime in. So Rolling Stone just put out its new list for best drummers. I think it's fan driven.
Yeah.
So the ranking is slightly different. So John Bonham is number 1.
Yeah.
And then
love
Keith
John
Moon
Bonham.
is number 2.
I love Keith Moon.
Yeah. Ginger Baker, number 3.
I love Ginger Baker.
Neil Peart, number 4.
I love Neil Peart.
And it's hard to... You can swap those guys around. And I know that John Bonham's, apparently number one everybody. But
I love Neil Peart not only because he's such an amazing drummer, but because he doesn't give a shit that we've been pronouncing his name wrong for 40 years.
Yeah, that's true. Stuart Copeland, 10.
Dude comes in at 10?
10. Yeah.
All right.
I think 5 is Krupa.
Oh. Krupa makes the... Now, this is top 100 rock and roll drummers.
This is
and
drummers.
I love Gene Krupa.
Yeah, this is drummers. I don't know if it was qualified as rock and roll or not.
Oh, okay. Okay, now we're talking. We're talking about the top 100 drummers. All right.
Doesn't have Omar Hakim.
Omar Hakim's not on the list. That nullifies the list.
It makes the list really
that
suspect.
nullifies the list.
Yeah.
That list is done.
Bosio is on the list, top 10-ish.
Is he in the top 10? Good for
I
him.
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But I will
He's
say,
gone off the deep end for me. And I love him.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a long time because the last time he was a groove drummer for me, and I know I'm going to get blown up for this, but was Jeff Beck's Guitar Shop, which was right around 1991 or something.
Well,
And after that, man, he's just too far off.
I think
Amazing,
Yeah.
but just far.
Purdy is number 20.
Purdy's on the list.
Yep.
But no Hakeem.
No Hakeem.
That's just
Maybe I missed
criminal.
Hakeem. I'm going off of memory.
That's
but
just criminal.
I didn't see him, though, and it stood out that I didn't see him.
But I'm glad Purdy made the list.
Yep.
To me, for me,
Mm-hmm.
Purdy should be... But Purdy's in my top 10.
Hal Blaine was number 5. That's who was in the top 5.
How?
And
Okay,
then
you know
Gene
what?
Krupa's
Maybe I'll
just-
give this list a chance.
Yeah, it's just, But then, well, Meg White makes the list.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Meg White's on the list, but not Omar Hakeem. That's just silly.
And now that I'm thinking about
That's
it,
just silly.
And this again could be my memory. I don't know that I don't remember seeing Sheila E. on the list, but you're talking 100 names. I easily could have saw it and not remembered it, but it didn't stand out to me where she was on the list.
Meg White comes in at 94.
Can you find Sheila E. in that list?
Top 100.
I'm
but
looking.
She's 94.
Yeah.
Meg White.
Yeah.
You know, Meg White. I love people. I'm sure Meg White is lovely, but I think she doesn't belong on that list. To me,
Yeah.
she can't even keep time.
I would like to know what defines the drummer. Like maybe we do our own list and we don't got to do 100. That's a lot of work, but
Yeah.
Define what greatness is.
Here's my equivalent.
Sheila E. comes in at 58.
Oh, okay.
Well,
That's good. Well,
I know list.
I'd like to have seen her in the top 25, but 58, she at least made the list.
Yeah.
So the equivalent, I would say, is if, let's say, that would be like if Ricky Henderson didn't make the list,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of just some I'm trying to think of a mediocre third baseman who had a really impressive mustache or something.
Scott Brosius is your man.
Scott Brosius.
Third base for
So-
the Yankees.
Yes.
All of a sudden, he started winning world titles. He's like, it's me. Like, it wasn't him.
Yeah.
He was good, but it wasn't him.
Tommy Lee comes in at 85.
Tommy Lee.
Hitchcock, 84.
True. Yes.
His cock was one ahead of him,
Yeah.
as it normally is.
It keeps better time.
Here's the thing about Tommy Lee.
Okay, let's
he's
hear it.
he's a better drummer than some people give him credit for. He's an amazing timekeeper, and he's a wonderful field drummer. He never betrays the groove. There's a little less flash to him, some would say, than other drummers, but what he's doing doesn't need the flash.
He
What
also
he's
does
doing
something
needs
that
the
is
groove.
pretty rare for drummers in that he leads the band from the front. Not to say that
Yeah.
he's not the front man,
Right.
but he's really got personality.
Yes.
He's not in the background,
Right.
which is different than most drummers.
He's definitely in the mix. When
Yeah.
it comes to the personality of the band, you're right.
Right.
I mean, I would say he's probably more of the personality of Motley Crue than, God bless him, Mick Mars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Mick Mars is great.
And Vince Neil's up there doing frontman work, but
Right.
some of that load is carried by Tommy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And Gary agrees too. He just agrees.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I have to bring up Larry Mullen and what they say in the article, and it's the same thing they wrote about him last time.
Yeah.
But he's down in the low 90s, or high 90s, so he's at the very end of the list, which I think is silly.
He's on the same zip code on the list as Meg White.
Yeah, and look how many songs Larry Mullen's drummed on. And then there's so many songs where he comes in drumming, and you know instantly what song it is. And that's not all that common for drummers, to have a signature pattern of drumming. And the story they tell is they had a click track, and they were drumming to, and he's like, hey, the click track is dragging a little bit. It's a little bit slow. And this is U2's room. I mean, there's no slouches in this room. And so they don't believe him. And then they go and they check, and they're like, oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a little off. It was a couple hundredths off. That was pretty impressive. Hey, thanks, Larry. So they fix it, and he's like, it's still a little off. So they went back, and it was 200ths off. So he was able to get on the nut to know like something that was just out of swing a little bit. And again, this is in a room with Brian Eno running the click track.
You know, what I'll say to that is that his ability to provide clock and color.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes Larry Mullen.
Yeah. And his job isn't to be virtuosic and have 15 or 20-minute drum solos. That's not his job.
Right. You know whose job that is? It's Omar Hakeem's fucking job.
Yeah.
Why isn't he on the list?
Yes. You have to be a relevant drummer for more than 5 years. Like
Okay.
you have to be doing relevant work more than 5 years.
Okay.
You can't do your best work when you're less than 25 years old.
Right.
Otherwise, you don't get to be in the top 100.
I agree.
Because
agree.
there's all kinds of people that have done it longer
That's
and better.
not. You're not a journeyman yet. You got to get your journeyman button first.
Yeah, you went in, you had some inspiration, and that's wonderful.
Yep.
When the inspirations run out and the work comes in,
Yep.
and you've got to go back and reinvent, that's when you get to be great.
Yep.
You know, like those are the guys who are young and don't really do anything new after that. They made it to AAA. They didn't make it to the majors because of the majors they adjust.
Yeah.
The fans move around.
Or they did that little stint, like my man John Haddock.
Yeah.
where you got to the show, you did your thing in the show.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't sustain a long career, but hey, you made it.
Yeah.
You should be applauded.
Right.
You're going to be great in your hometown of Poughkeepsie.
Yeah. You're Matt Noakes with the Yankees. You come up and have a 30 home run year.
Yep.
That's fantastic. And then a bunch of years where you're middling, and then you're out of the league early.
Yep. You know what that means, though? You will always have that great summer baseball clinic. There will always be 100 kids there. And if you're a nice guy and you're truly into it, you're going to influence 10,000 lives.
But you're not Questlove.
Right.
You're not Max Weinberg.
Yeah.
You're not even Anton Fig.
No. Is Anton Fig on the list?
Will you look it up, Gary?
I will. So, name me your most influential drum solo,
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, The Black Page by Terry Bozzio.
because I have it up already on my list.
Oh. What is it? Inagata Devita.
It totally is In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida.
Gary loves that song.
Yeah.
And you got to see these two words, too. You got to talk about Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Because that song
You do
is
have to
all
talk
about
Moby
the
Dick.
drums.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Black Betty.
Although it's mechanical, Blue Monday is driven by
It is
the
mechanical.
drums.
The fucking Wipeout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
It gets overshadowed by the guitar solo, though, or the guitar riff.
Right.
I mean, that was a really super influential surfer theme, iconic kind of guitar riff.
Yeah. Everything in that song, though, was early influential surfer iconic,
Yeah.
you know.
Who plays the drums the best but plays them least?
That's a good question.
Tap for tap. Swing for swing.
Maybe Max Weinberg. Like just making every note count,
Right.
you know. Not playing a zillion notes, but making every one
Right.
do a hell of a job. Carry a lot of weight. I'd say Max Weinberg.
Krupa 7.
7. Okay.
Who was I looking up?
Anton Fig.
Okay. Charlie Watts is 12, and I'd say,
Charlie Watts is also the fewest
for
notes,
tap.
most impact,
fewest notes to most stoned drummer.
Yeah.
Where would you put him with Ringo Starr? Above or below?
I like Ringo Starr just a little better.
Yeah, he's Ringo Starr's below.
Well, I don't know shit about this list, that's for sure. Here's the drummer who belongs on that list who's probably not on it. Zigaboo Modaliste.
He's on there.
Is he?
I think he's in the top 20.
No shit.
Give me a
Yeah.
minute.
Zig made the list. That's good.
Yeah. So they got some.
18.
They've got some
18.
obscure. Yeah, they've got some
That's
obscure,
good.
not
That's
top
good.
of the list kind of guys that are on the list.
Yeah.
But somehow Omar Hakim didn't make it. Maybe he didn't take the phone call when Rolling Stone called.
Possibly. Wow. That's pretty amazing. I think Stewart. I don't know. It's hard to award someone most unique. But in the category of most unique, you got to at least nominate Stuart Copeland.
Who else is nominated for that list?
Wow.
How about Larry Mullen? He does because his proficiency came way after he was in a successful band.
Yeah.
He definitely approaches things differently than other drummers do.
Yeah.
Who are we talking about?
Larry Mullen Jr. from U2.
96.
Yeah. That's to me. And I'm a U2 fan, but that's too far down the list.
Yeah, but I feel like if you have a guitarist like the guitarist U2 has,
Yeah.
tough to be the drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough to
and
be the
those
drummer.
guys know their job, and they get it down. There's no denying that Larry Mullen has unique sounds on the drum. And they've got 40 years of being in a band now. That says that he's way better than 96.
Yeah, you gotta do something about 40 years.
Yeah.
That's a badge by itself.
You can't be in the same neighborhood as Meg White. God bless Meg White, but she doesn't have 15 albums in her. And then 60 Grammys worth of music? That's not done with a bad drummer.
Two drummers who deserve to be on that list who I bet aren't. And so far, everybody who I thought wasn't going to be on the list besides Omar Hakim has been on the list. And Zig made the list. But let's see. I would say my very first drum influence, the person who allowed me to figure out what music was made out of, is Harold Brown. And then after him, probably my most direct impact in terms of the way that I hear the drums and what I demand of the discipline on the drums is David Garibaldi. And I bet neither one of them are on the list. Even though David Garibaldi is widely credited as the living godfather of funk drums.
I guess we'll find out. Gary will look it up.
Yeah.
46.
46.
Tower of Power.
Dave Garibaldi. All right. That list is getting better in my mind.
It's getting better.
Actually had a good sit-down talk with, I worked on his house.
John Fogerty.
No, or Tower of Power again.
Oh, Rocco Prestia.
Nope. Who was the lead singer? Local East Bay guy.
I would say, well, there have been several lead singers, one of whom's going to be on the show in a couple weeks, Rick Stevens.
Boy.
But you're probably talking about Lenny Williams.
No.
Damn.
And I could be
Michael Jeffries.
I could be misrepresenting Tower of Power.
Yeah.
He is a local guy.
Yeah.
He is totally an East Bay native, and he has a very interesting name, and I'll think of it in a minute, so I will shut up.
Okay. Gary's going to think of it in a minute.
Most versatile drummer.
Yeah.
And I don't know you get more versatile than this, because he defines versatility. Hal Blaine.
Yeah.
Too many genres, 40 number ones.
40 number ones. The last of which, by the way, was Muskrat Love.
Yeah. Play with Frank, play with everybody. So
Elvis.
Yeah, everybody. The Beach Boys, everybody.
Yeah. Really probably recorded more Beach Boys albums than anybody else.
Yeah. The most recorded drummer of all time.
Yeah. Although, J.R. Robinson, beginning to give him a run for his money. I mean, he's had the length of his career is getting to the point where it's like, ooh, he's kind of knocking on Hal's door a little bit.
Hal's number is ridiculous, too. It's like you had to play 5 songs for decades, a day,
Yeah.
and have those things
Well, that's the
recorded.
thing. He recorded 5 songs a day for decades.
Right. Whole albums.
And got to the point where the sessions that he was doing were the good ones. You know, he got the cherry pick.
Well, and he also was Phil Spector's go-to guy.
Yeah.
You're in L.A., Phil Spector's playing, you're going to look at Hal Blaine's face.
Yep. Phil Spector.
47,000 recorded?
Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, just the calendar. I would love to just see the calendar. The other thing is he made, by his own admission, you know, he's got, let's say, how many hit records do you say he had? Just put a number on it.
Hal Blaine?
Yeah.
40 number ones. That means he had a couple hundred hit records then, right?
Yeah. I mean, his discography, I read his book.
Right.
And the discography at the end of the book, is several pages long. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's how many number ones, and you turn the page.
Right.
And you turn the page. And here's how many Grammy winners, and you turn the page.
It's an 800-page
and you
book
turn the
with
page.
a 300-page biography.
Yeah, and then here's how many Oscar-winning songs,
Right.
and you turn. I mean, when you get to the point where you have a long list of Oscar-winning songs,
Yeah.
God damn, how many songs have you recorded?
That
So
means-
let's say he's got 4,000 songs that you and I would hear and go, "Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah." I don't know 4,000 number. Maybe it's 1,000. But by his own admission, that means that he's recorded 18,000 stinkers.
Yeah. Most stinkingest stinker. That's like Barry Sanders is the all-time leadingest rusher if you take out all his negative yards. He is for sure the all-time negative yard king in football.
Yep.
So when you add the two together, Emmett passes him up. But when you're that good, you get caught behind the line sometimes.
Sure. You're going to take chances nobody else takes.
Yeah. You get to take chances that nobody else takes.
That's right. Nobody's going to question it.
Yeah.
It's funny that we bring, these similes of greatness to communicate our point about something completely unrelated.
Yeah.
I mean, we just called Hal Blaine the Barry Sanders of drums.
Yep.
Did drums know they had a Barry Sanders?
I don't know if they knew that till right now.
Is Pete Best still alive?
I think we lost Pete Best recently. But I'll double check it.
I wish we had known what he was. What went through his mind the last few years of his life.
Well, he had one of those careers where he got to be a little bit angry
Yeah,
because he was almost the guy,
almost.
but he also got to make money because he was almost the guy.
I watched the Van Halen documentary recently, which was really good. But they had the guy who was the bass player for Van Halen.
Pete Best is still alive.
Oh, okay. This guy is like, I think he owns plumbing supply company or something. And he's got a mustache.
Oh.
And is, mostly bald. He's got
Now I'm
the
interested.
he's got the ring of
Yeah.
hair around the back. And he looks like that. You saw him, you'd think, you might be a mailman, or you
Yeah.
might be and if you talk to Alex Van Halen and he recounts what it was like to build that band, he's like, and then we got,
Yeah.
Mike Musselwhite or whatever his name was.
Right.
And it's like, and that's when we knew we were the baddest band in town. And then they cut to that dude, and he's like, hello. But he's totally with it. He's like, nah, I had a great life. It's just successful, and I
Yeah.
left the band. They didn't, maybe they fired me, maybe I quit. It was one of those things, but there was no sourness about it. It was like, yeah, boy, were they awesome. I got 2 great kids, and they're grown and whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's pissed off. I also think that they probably, he's got standing tickets to Van Halen when they come to Pasadena
Sure.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. There's worse things in life than having a career being the guy that almost made the cut for the Beatles.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
He gets to go out and make a living playing music. It's just not Sir McCartney's living. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But on the other hand, he's probably got a relationship in his life with his oldest child that might be terrific.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we certainly, even we know artists and musicians who have had amazing lives. Maybe not the greatest relationship with their oldest child.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to have all that stuff mixed together. It's really tough to do.
Let's talk about our professional lives.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
So we have something very exciting on the horizon, and that is that a Fortune 500 company,
Yeah.
possibly a Fortune 100 company,
I
I
think
haven't
they're
really
50.
looked up, certainly iconic company in American history,
Yeah.
has less than desirable to them, their own high standards, track record of veteran engagement in their human resources practice, and they want to get better at it. And so we've begun discussions. They haven't signed a contract yet, but everybody's intention is there, and they certainly can, dare I say, afford us.
Yeah.
It just depends on what exactly they want to do and what approach they want to take. But they've begun the conversation where they've said, Pete, How
Yeah.
do we improve our veteran engagement?
They
How
get
do
all
we
the
get
credit.
better?
I mean, they reached out, and it's given me a chance to learn even more about veteran engagement, what it means to be the best. And what I've realized is that the best is a great standard, but there's a lot of companies that just they have the desire, but they don't have the capacity to actually even do it at a bad level. You know, when they go to solve their problem of finding someone for a particular job, they don't have the ability to say, or the desire or the knowledge to say, let's get a veteran. Like, let's get diversity. Let's check a veteran block and a disabled block and this ethnicity or this gender. You know, it isn't part of their decision tree. And so we're going to get a chance to at least propose a means of doing it. And I've done some exciting work already in that. And I've been checking this with veterans and talking to them about what it means, what needs to be done. Because it's one thing for us to come up with something in a vacuum. It's another thing to actually solve the problem of the betrayal that service members feel and the willingness to withhold trust because of that betrayal. And so you can say, we love veterans. Thank you for your service.
Everybody says that.
Right. That's the problem. What does that mean?
Yeah.
And then nobody wants to be like, oh, no, but I really mean it. Like, okay, well, how do we get you to the next step where it actually is a contribution to someone's livelihood, wealth, well-being?
Well, I find where the rubber meets the road is when we get somebody who's got a willingness to measure.
Yeah.
Because there are people who tout their intentions, and then there are experts. And then there are those who measure.
Yeah.
And those who measure from a standpoint of humility where they go, yeah, we would love to be experts. We believe that we strive for expertise in every facet of what we do. But until you put that down for a minute and go, okay, this might stink.
Yeah.
Let's measure and really humbly and honestly look at some measurement of what it is you're trying to do and where it is that improvement is most impactful.
That measurement really is where the rubber and the road are getting together. And it's one thing to say we're all for veterans. We want to hire veterans. We want people with military service. It's another thing to know even how to measure it. Like, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that equate? And then get that message out so that veterans have the chance to learn that no fooling. We really put effort into this. And this is where I'm talking to the CEOs. If your effort to hire veterans isn't equal to other efforts that you have, then you're not putting enough effort into it. You've got to find those things that differentiate you from your competitors.
Now, here's where I come in, because I'm the non-veteran in the picture. My effort in helping somebody to reach a higher plateau in their veteran engagement is to be able to say, as a non-veteran, I am not beholden to any preconceived notion. I truly want someone's patriotism to meet their pocketbook.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see companies like this one who have gone so far as to reach out and say, hey, we want to get better. Help us get better.
Yeah.
Because few companies do.
Yeah.
Everybody says, oh, we support our troops. We wear the button. We have the flag thing. We have the ribbon. And we fly a flag. Great. All of those things are great. But it's like Facebook activism. You know, until you get your hands in it, until you get dirty,
Yeah.
you could do better. So my engagement in this thing is to say, I'm really going to break these numbers down, and I'm going to say, here's how you get better
Yeah.
at engaging with veterans. But I'm also willing to say, hey, veterans, let's tune up and face this problem by saying, we're going to approach this mission the same way we approach a mission to take the hill.
Yeah.
Which is to say that we are also going to measure, we're also going to assess, we're also going to find our weaknesses, and we're going to capitalize on our strengths. And we're going to make it so that not only is it patriotism that drives the honorable mission to better engage with veterans, but it's also because veterans have, in groups, found ways to serve the human resource needs of an organization.
For sure. Yes. You look at people that are combat arms, and that's infantry, that's artillery, that's tanks, the hardest of the hard in the military. And their job ultimately is to close with and destroy the enemy, to impose their will. That doesn't sound like things that apply to corporate culture. But if you pull back and you realize that these guys have been trained to do something that is all unnatural to all of us, to run towards contact, towards the enemy. Yeah, I want someone like that in my company. I want someone that isn't afraid of a problem and is trainable at that level. Because you can train an infantryman to do anything.
If we can take the ethic of waking up before everybody else and doing, as the old saying goes, more before 7 a.m. than most people do all day.
Right.
And translate that into whatever it is your company builds, whatever widget you make or whatever, that's when you really have what is important about putting veterans to work, because it's more than just the rhetoric of, hey, we support our troops.
Yeah.
How about this? Instead of saying we support our troops, let's say we support the most dutiful, most hardworking, most trainable population that comes at us with a built-in work ethic,
right,
and ready to go.
I'm thinking about a particular, he's a platoon sergeant, so he's got about, let's say 50 people underneath him, and he had a patrol going out, and it's his job to make sure those guys are taken care of. He doesn't go on missions anymore. He runs the people that run the missions, and he goes out and, like an uncle, like a dad, like an older brother, he goes to each of these young 21, 18-year-old kids, looks at their harness, because he's got gunners, right? And these guys stand up all day behind a gun, so they're in a harness for their safety. And he lovingly checks their harness to make sure that someone's double-checked, that they're in there all right, so that everything that can be done before they go out into harm's way is done and protected. That guy knows about their lives, what's going on back at home, and he's looking out for every facet of their well-being. That kind of leadership, you need that in your company, because employees aren't engaged. And if you have someone that's engaging them from a leadership point of view, you've got a way better chance of having someone like that. So there's a lot of things that you don't realize about veterans and what they do as infantry people. That doesn't apply at all, but here are these great lessons of someone taking the time to make sure that that person knows that they're cared for by the people above them.
That's just great leadership.
Right.
That's not just great military leadership. That's great, inspiring leadership.
Yeah.
Not management, leadership.
Right.
You know, I watched recently 43 on 43. Did you ever see that? Or 41 on 41, excuse me.
Not seen it.
It was the documentary on George Herbert Walker Bush.
Oh, okay.
Bush 41. And to a person on this documentary, of course, they engaged 41 people. So 41 on 41. They all said, you know, they told their stories about him being president and him being whatever it was in their life. But every single one of those people said, hey, he's the nicest man you'll ever meet. And one of those people was Barack Obama. And they really ran the gamut from his political allies to his political, I won't call them enemies. I don't know that he had strict enemies.
Right.
But both sides of the aisle, both sides of whatever debate he was on, they said, you know, I debated him hard, and I'm just making up words, but they, you know, would say things like, I debated him hard, and then when I got back to my hotel room, there was a thank you note.
Yeah.
And it was handwritten or something like that. I mean, he had a personal touch for everything.
Sure.
And they said when he engaged the groundskeeper at the White House, it wasn't, hey, how are you? It was, hi, Larry. How's Louise?
Yeah.
And what about Michael? Is he graduating the 8th grade already? You know, he would engage everybody on that level of detail. He knew it wasn't just, how's the family? It was,
right.
You know, how's Sarah? How's Matthew? And that, how do you not work for that guy and love it and follow him into the center of the sun wherever he's going?
Yeah. He's an incredible dude. So this is one of the things he did for years after, and he's a little older now, so he doesn't do it, I don't think at all anymore, but he used to go to the same taqueria place, and I forget what name of the place was, but it was just a place where you go get tacos and margaritas, and he would get the big Cadillac margarita, and he'd sit there at his table, and he would sort of hold court for a while. A couple of Secret Service guys, and if you wanted to come up, you could ask the president one question.
Wow.
Only a guy that's likable,
Yeah.
truly a good, happy person can do something like that.
Going to give you that kind of access.
Yeah, yeah. And he's not trying to accomplish anything.
And the thing about that kind of access is you could be the asshole who comes in there and goes, all right, well, you son of a bitch, here's my question for you.
Yeah, you'll
and
lose
then the
that
other
fight.
7 guys around, he doesn't even have to police that.
No.
Because the other 7 guys are like, hey, asshole,
Yeah.
take it easy.
Well, and George can handle that.
Yeah. and
George
it's-
Elder's got
it's
that covered.
Not that he was a fighter pilot. He'll punch you in the mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the thing about leadership is that when the chips are down or when someone is under attack, that's when his guys rally around him and go, wait.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't for that.
Right.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how the world should operate. I mean, when he was president, I don't know. I thought some of his decisions were great, and I thought some of his decisions were less than great. But there's no doubt that he was sincere about it, whatever it was he did. And there's no doubt that he was surrounded by human beings who respected him and loved him. Love him. I don't speak in the past tense. It seems like everybody loves him.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody loves.
I love the fraternity of the presidency.
Oh, yeah? You like that?
I think
That's pretty
it's
cool.
amazing that Bush 41 and Jimmy Carter can be homeboys.
Yeah. I love that Bush the Younger and Bill Clinton can get together on a project
Yep,
because they both want the same thing. It's the Henry Rollins maxim once again.
that's right.
You know, we just want to take care of people. Doesn't matter what direction you come from. We're just trying to take care of people.
And all the presidents who are still alive, former and current, seem to have an amazing relationship with each other where whatever ideology or side of the aisle you came from, you did a job that very few individuals can understand. And when you look back on that job and somebody else who's done that job looks back on it, they go, boy, that was some shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the hardest job in our nation, that's for sure.
Yep,
Because more than half of us are going to be mad at you no matter what you do.
that's true.
And the machine will try to limit your options and narrow down what you're allowed to do.
Oh, yeah.
And the president's job is to sort of say, nope, I'm going to hack away at that. And you only get to have so many of those fights where you hack away. And so all those guys know, like, you do what you can, you accomplish what you can. But for being the most powerful person in the world, your power is often quite limited
Yep.
because we've got a great government set up.
Power's not what it used to be. You
No.
can't just go around and fuck things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Henry VIII, he was like, you know what? The church doesn't like that I go around and fuck things, so we're going to get a new church.
Yeah.
And you can't do that anymore.
I mean, you think about this. When George Bush the Elder left office, there was a smooth transition to a completely different party's government.
Yep.
When Bill Clinton left office, there was a smooth transition to a completely different party's style of doing business.
Yeah.
And we repeated that process again from George Bush to Barack Obama. Like these are radical swings in how we see approaching the problem, and the government goes on.
But it comes down to, in that particular job, it comes down to the fact that, like you said, you are the most powerful person in the world and limited. And I wish that those limits were, I don't know. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. You know, speaking of our current president,
Yes.
I want to give a shout out to Mary Mullen Carnes, whom I've known since the 4th grade.
All right.
And she listens to the show, and she's
What's up,
great.
Mary?
She's witty and fantastic, and it's funny that we are now in our late 40s, and I figure out from someone who I knew when I was 8 years old that we seem to have an awful lot in common. Most recently, she put up a picture of a mural of Chuck Brown. She lives in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
She put up a picture of a mural of Chuck Brown, and I thought, oh, that's amazing. I love Chuck Brown. So, hey, Mary, thanks for listening. I don't know if she's going to make it this far into this show.
Well,
But,
you know.
yeah.
The other thing I want to say about Barack Obama as president, and I mean this with the absolute sincerity and love, I think he's going to be a great ex-president.
Yeah, I think so,
because
too.
he won't be limited.
Yep.
And he can't get done the things that he feels he needs to get done. So, and he'll have backing for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So he might be
people will get
the
behind
most
his ass.
successful ex-president that we ever have.
We'll
'cause he's
see.
young.
We'll see. He is still young, relatively speaking. He's got a lot of years that he can get a lot done if that's what he chooses to do. And, you know, he's an achiever, so that's what he's going to choose to do for at least a long while. I, however, would probably buy the lot next door to Shep Gordon, build a lovely house on it, and spend the rest of my years not wearing long pants. Mm-hmm. Maybe having shoes on one day a week.
That's the George Bush, the younger model. I'm going to go learn how to paint.
Yep.
I'm going to read 1,000,000 books.
I want to learn how to paint.
Uh-huh.
Let's get our arms around that.
And he's a hell of a painter now.
Yeah.
He really can do it. So, yeah, he's like, I've had enough of all that stuff. I'm just going to go do this.
Yep.
And that certainly is an ex-president's prerogative. You've done enough, you know.
Yeah. He had a busy life.
So we digressed way far away from the external veteran experience, but you know what? It's a good conversation.
Yeah. And we started with the Rolling Stone 100 best drummers.
That's right.
And probably mentioned 16 of them.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, yeah. How about this, man? We got Sly Stone coming up. For anybody who's made it all the way this deep into this episode, you're going to love the Sly Stone episode. To bring it full circle, you're going to love the Sly Stone episode. Keep your ears open for it because it's coming. It's coming. I promise it's coming. We've been working. Man, we've been burning the midnight oil on that thing. So we think you're going to like it.
I know they're going to like it. It's
We're
incredible.
putting it up for posterity, and that's the thing, is that we could easily have just thrown up our conversation with Sly Stone, but it called back to so many things that really, to do it justice and to put it up for posterity, it deserved to be commented upon by other people. It deserved to have musical cues that were answered so that you could go, wow, you know what? That's an amazing topic. I wish I knew what song it was they were talking about. Mm-hmm. And then we'll give you a little snippet of the song, and you'll go, oh, shit, yes. They played that song at my junior prom.
I have to say that as we've put the show together, though it has been arduous in terms of hours, every time we get the turn music on, if it's you or if it's me, we're both in the moment, in the groove, because it's Sly's grooves.
Yeah.
And our heads are moving. We're just sitting back going, oh, man.
So many times we've been just dead dog tired in the middle of the night, grinding away, and then we'll stop and hit the play button, and we've done this several times where we just look at each other and go, that is so fucking good.
Yeah, yes, it is.
So, yeah. Including Family Affair, which was the first major label record that used a drum machine.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So, what an influence. Anyway, thanks, man. Let's button it up.
Yeah. And thanks for bearing with us, everybody, while we get this Sly Stone show made.
Yeah. Thanks for
100th
listening.
episode.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for reaching out and loving us back. Thanks for tuning in and making it so that this show can hopefully enrich one or two of you and give you something entertaining to, I don't know, drive a truck to or commute to wherever. But let us know what you like, and we'll keep doing it.